Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review, and in today's video we're looking at this McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Superman figure as portrayed by Brandon Routh in the 2006 movie Superman Returns, which was seen as a continuation of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Well, effectively the first two, it kind of like said that it ignoring the continuity of the Superman 3 and Superman 4 The Quest for Peace. So a lot of people have been clamouring for this figure, and finally McFarlane have delivered, and we will have a good look at this figure. The reason why I've got obviously a Chris Reeve figure here is obviously because he's supposed to be the same Superman. It's the same character. About Superman Returns, it's a flawed movie. Obviously has some problematic issues, mainly the director and one of the cast, since it was made. But I liked it at the time. I think I got caught up in the nostalgia of hearing that John Williams music, and obviously then just kind of like just seeing Superman back on the big screen. I mean, the plane rescue sequence is just absolutely amazing, and it's a shame that's the only decent kind of like action sequence in the movie. The rest of it has kind of like Brandon Routh kind of like moping as a Superman who's been missing for 5 years and has returned to Earth to see that basically the planet and Lois Lane has moved on without him, and how he adjusts to that. And obviously there's a couple of twists here and there, but it is a little bit melancholy at times, especially when you compare it to superhero movies today. And the plot is just a little bit too similar to the plot of the first Christopher Reeve movie, Superman the movie in 1978, with Lex Luthor trying to get some land and do a big land kind of like real estate plot. So yeah, I think it's, like I said, flawed, but it is still I think a worthy movie in the kind of like DC canon. And just before we get to the figure, I'd just like to show you this. So again, if you saw the Star Trek video, you saw that I've recently got William Shatner's autograph. But here we have Brandon Routh's autograph. Now, I obtained this from Collectomania at Milton Keynes way back in the summer of, I think, late August 2006. So just as the movie had been out. Obviously, it was riding high at the box office. It did fairly okay at the box office. Did about 400 million, which back then was fairly, seen as good. Obviously, not to the level of Spider-Man movies that had come out. But yeah, I got a pleasure to actually meet the guy himself, and he was a lovely guy. Absolutely, very humble, very, very kind of down to earth. I remember the people who were in front of me in the queue was a father and a son, and the son was in a Superman costume. Just how Brandon kind of engaged with the little boy was just absolutely delightful to witness. And obviously since then he has reprised the role of Superman in the Arrowverse for the CW, in the Legends of Tomorrow and the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that they did. With him having a more Kingdom Come style costume, and there is speculation that we will get another variant of that figure of Brandon in that costume. So there you go, that's a nice little memento there of Brandon in his autograph there. Lovely guy to meet. But let's have a look at the packaging before we get the figure out. So it's the standard DC Multiverse packaging. Obviously 22 moving parts, points of articulation at the top, the old style DC Bullet logo that they've now adopted. A lovely piece of artwork on the side from Superman Returns, showing Superman taking flight from the Earth. You've got the Superman logo at the top briefly. Nothing much on the side there, just the QR code for DC Universe Infinite, which is their comic book app. And then on the back, you've got that very striking image that they used for one of the theatrical posters of Superman above the Earth, which I think is quite a striking image there. So, yeah, that's the packaging. Let's get the figure out and have a closer look. So just a quick word about the inner packaging, which is not the usual DC Comics montage. It's a nice little image there of the sky to obviously have the figure next to. And then obviously this, well, disappointingly, there's only 2 accessories that you get with this figure, and that's the DC standard stand. So we don't even get a flight stand with Superman. And I've said every Superman figure I've reviewed, they really need to put a flight stand with each of the flying characters. But yeah, so there's your stand, and the obligatory trading card there, which obviously has the same image from my autograph. So there you go, which slightly different though, same image but a different background, interestingly. So obviously there are lots of different promotional images we used for the film. Obviously it has a little bit on the back there. Doesn't really give you the plot of the film. That's just the generic Superman bio. So again, a little bit lazy there from McFarlane, with no figures bar the trading card. No accessories bar the trading card and the figure stand. And here he is, Brandon Routh as Superman from Superman Returns. And yeah, I really like this figure. It is just a shame that it is such a basic figure, no accessories. We haven't even got a wire in the cloth cape. So, I mean, the cloth cape is obviously a nice accessory there. And as far as I remember, I think his cape was a little bit longer. Or am I thinking of the Henry Cavill version? Anyway, some nice detail. Obviously, I was always on the fence about how the burgundy red and whether or not it actually worked in the movie. I think that movie needs a good restoration. It's not currently available on 4K. It needs a huge amount of colour correction to take away that wishy-washiness from it. Because I don't remember it being like that in the cinema. I saw it on IMAX. But then when it came out on Blu-ray, the transfer was virtually like murky as hell. One thing to note is the Superman emblem is slightly bigger on the figure than what it is on the actual costume itself. And I like that because I always thought the Superman emblem was just a little bit too small. Standard, obviously, articulation. You've got some nice paint detail on the belt there. However, McFarlane, you've done it again. You've not painted his wrists. So that's another thing that I'm going to have to do, similar to how I did it with the Superman Chris Reeve version, which obviously since that dried, it's discoloured a bit, so I need to go a little bit darker there. But yeah, let's just put him in the background because we'll do a comparison. But yeah, it's a great figure. Lovely detail on the boots. If you can see there, they've actually got the S's on the bottom of the boots, which is what the costume had. So that's great to see. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? This is a great standard multiverse figure. But where are the alternate hands? Where are the flight hands? Where are the open gesture hands? Where is the flight stand? I mean, you know, you really are giving us the bare bones here. And I know McFarlane lose the license very, very soon. They literally have until the end of the year to produce any DC content, and after that Mattel take over the license. But this is just a little bit too cheap from them. I really did expect a little bit better, although I will say the likeness of Brandon Routh is absolutely fantastic there. Now, given that this is supposed to be the same Superman from the Christopher Reeve movies, I know what you're going to say. Can we do a head swap? So let's have a look at see if we can. I have seen other people do this, so let me just see if he pops off very easily. So And then we can see what each figure looks like with the different head. Luckily they're matching, unlike Hasbro, who sometimes don't have the same peg holes on different figures. Oops, let's just push that on. Oh, right, okay. And then just put the Brandon Routh head sculpt on there. Ooh. Well, that's certainly different, isn't it? That looks very much like the evil Superman from Superman 3 now. And there is quite a lot of reuse in this figure. The arms are the same. The upper legs are the same. Obviously, the boots are different because they're differently sculpted boots. I think the middle torso is the same. Not too sure about the upper torso because obviously I think it might be. So essentially, this is like the Chris Reeve figure, but obviously in different colours, with obviously the additions to the Superman Returns costume made to it. But there you go, there's a little insight of what Brandon Routh would have looked like had he had the more faithful Christopher Reeve era costume. And then potentially you've got that what if, because they were talking to Chris Reeve in the early 90s about coming back and doing a Superman 5. And that's probably potentially what he might have looked like had they adapted the costume. So there you go. But yeah, a little bit of a cheapskate on this, so we'll just swap the heads back and then we'll do a final roundup. And one last thing, we can't obviously have a figure review without showing what he would look like if McFarlane weren't cheap and they actually provided a flight stand. So there you go, he is like kind of like flying upwards there, so we can like obviously do that, and then you can move him around. Okay. Potentially you've got obviously other kind of like things where you could have him like flying up in the air like that. Actually, you could probably get it in a better position. Hold on. So again, this would be where a wire cape would come in handy and be able to like do that proper thing of having it blowing in the air like I've got with the Chris Reeve figure. But yeah, so yeah, it's a good figure. I'm glad I've got it in my collection. But as I said, you know, McFarlane, stop being so cheap. I know you're coming to the end of your license, but you know, you could have included so much more with this figure. And here he is with the Christian Bale Batman figure from Batman Begins, incidentally, which came out the year before. Now, if you didn't know this, Batman Begins was also moderately successful at the box office, but didn't make as much money as Superman Returns. I think it came out at around about the late 300 million or so, whereas Superman Returns just passed 400 million. Obviously, Superman Returns did not get a sequel, and later got rebooted with Henry Cavill as Man of Steel, whereas the Christian Bale went on to do the Dark Knight trilogy. A couple of reasons beyond that. Obviously, the way that the film was received, I think, by people wasn't the success that Warner Brothers wanted it to be. And also the budget was a lot higher because Batman Begins was a fairly low budget movie. You know, it wasn't a huge blockbuster. But Superman Returns, obviously, yes, it had a budget, but it also got laboured with all the production costs of the previous failed attempts to get a Superman film, like from the mid-90s onwards. And that includes, obviously, the Tim Burton Nicolas Cage version, which obviously they got paid off for. And then you had the McG, J.J. Abrams Superman Flyby, which was supposed to be put into production in the early 2000s, which they invested a huge amount of like pre-production costs into. And they basically moved all those costs over onto the Superman Returns budget, which meant that bang for buck, it didn't make as much money. So that's probably one of the main reasons why we never saw Brandon in a sequel. But like I said, he has since reprised his role in television, and that's great. Anyway, there it is, the Superman Returns figure. Hope you liked the video. If you did, leave us a like. Don't forget to share. And if you've not yet hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, and also that notification bell to be notified whenever we upload any brand new videos. In the meantime, still some cool stuff to come, but we'll see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Take care and stay safe. Bye now.